Hello chess friends and welcome to the channel. I'm back with another attacking game played yesterday at the Chess24 Magnus Carlsen Invitational. We are going to watch Nepomniachtchi vs Firouzja game 3 and we will also talk a bit about the Caro-Kann defense. Let's get started. Nepomniachtchi with the white pieces opens with e4, Firouzja answers with c6, the Caro-Kann, now d4 and d5. Here comes e5, the advanced variation, and bishop to f5, the bishop, out of the pawn chain. Knight to f3 is the main line, e6 closing the triangle, and now bishop to e2. This is the positional short variation. What is the idea? The idea is that white calmly completes his development, confident that his space advantage will give him a simpler game to play. Now after bishop to e2, but the game can also quickly become sharp, because now it's black turn to move, and black can take two completely different paths. The sharp c5 immediately attacking the center, or he can develop one of these knights to try and castle as soon as possible, or well, to try and castle when he wants. Now after bishop to e2, Firouzja continues with knight to e7, also black with a calm approach, and now c3, improving the pawn structure in the center of the board. h6, controlling g5, also clearing h7 for the bishop, and now short castle for white. Knight to d7, knight in b moves to d2. In this position, Karyakin and Nakamura with the black pieces often played queen to c7. What is the idea? The idea is that after queen to c7, black of course can castle long, but the idea after queen to c7 is to play g5, then bishop to g7, the second bishop back to g6, and then after so many moves, and after that black completed his development, white still doesn't know if black will castle short or long. Instead of queen to c7, Firouzja continues with a5. Watching the database, this line seems Eger's favorite. In fact, I have many recent games with many victories played by Valentina Gunina and Olga Giria with black. Nepomniachtchi continues with rook to e1. This rook to e1, of course, will help this classic knight maneuver. a4, not often played, gains even more space on the queen side. And now, knight to f1. Bishop to g6, because knight to g3 is coming, and with the bishop on f5 will come with tempo. So knight to g3, and now c5. This is a novelty. It's clear that Firouzja studied this line with the computer, because both a4 and c5 are the computer's favorite. My stockfish likes much these moves. So c5 is a novelty, game is completely original. And Nepomniachtchi continues with the best move, bishop to b5, pinning the knight, but not only that, also attacking a4 a second time. So what to do now? What Firouzja doesn't understand in this position is that in a close position like this one, if the queen moves away from this knight attacking the bishop, white will gladly change this bishop on the knight, also forcing the king in the center of the board with advantage. In fact, in this position, the best move is to continue with a3, now b3, and now knight to c6, shielding this knight in front of the king. And now, if white changes the bishop on the knight, this will go in black's favor. So this is the line to play. Instead, after bishop to b5, Firouzja continues with queen to a5, protecting the pawn a second time, and also attacking the bishop. But this is not a terrible mistake, but an inaccuracy for sure, because here comes bishop captures on d7 with check, the king recaptures, and in my opinion there is already an advantage for white, because this king on d7 is weak. Now d captures on c5 immediately. Nepomniachtchi wants to open the central file to attack the king, and now knight to c6. Bishop to e3, bishop captures on c5, and here comes c4. Rook in h goes to d8, bishop captures, queen captures, and now knight to h4, attacking the light square bishop on g6. Now, what happens if black continues with bishop back to h7? It happens that white will capture on d5, then the queen must recapture, and Nepomniachtchi will clear the d5 with this terrible geometry with the queen in front of the king, with the open files and the rooks ready to move to d1. So in this position, queen to g4 with tempo, with a terrible threat of rook to d1, and there is a good advantage for white. So after knight to h4, Firouzja doesn't move away, doesn't lose time to move away this bishop, captures the pawn on c4. This is the best move. Black is a pawn up, but after knight captures on g6, the pawn structure is ruined. F captures on g6, and now rook to c1, attacking the queen. Queen captures on a2, wins a second pawn, but now the queen is far from the action. Knight to e4, Nepomniachtchi centralized the knight that cannot be captured because this pawn is pinned. Knight to c5 will come with check and with also many other targets. Rook to f8, the rook to the semi-open file. This is a mistake because black shouldn't allow this knight to c5. b6 controlled in c5 is the move to play. Here comes knight to c5 with check, and this knight will become a problem. King to e7, queen to g4, there is pressure everywhere. So d4, at least the square in front of the king is now protected by the queen, but here comes queen captures on g6, and the queen is threatening to capture with check on g7. Rook to f7 is protecting g7, but here comes knight capture on b7. This knight is under attack. The white knight will move to d6, beautiful outpost, attacking the rook, only protected by the king, and so there is a lot of pressure against the black king. Firouzja continues with queen captures on b2, is grabbing pawns, but here comes knight to d6, the rook is under attack. Queen captures on f2, supported by the rook, is also a check. King to h1, and now knight captures on e5, another capture, and the knight is attacking the queen, and the other knight is under the king's attack. So it seems that Firouzja was able to solve some of his problems. He is also 3 pawns up, but Nepomniachtchi continues with queen to e4, and this is the winning move, because the queen is attacking this unprotected rook on a8, also attacking this knight that is also unprotected. Worse than that is that behind this knight there are only an unprotected pawn and the black's king. So in this position, best defensive move is queen back to f4, not played by Firouzja. Now this move will force white to slow down the mating attack, but will lose decisive material. Let's watch this important variation, not played by Firouzja. Queen captures on a8 will win the rook, at least the king regains the knight, but now queen captures on a4, captures the only good feature in black's position, this far pass pawn, and with the king in the center of the board that is so weak, is already +7. Now, what to play now for black? King back to e7 is the best move, but here comes queen to b4 with check, the queen will close the net, king to d7, and now queen to b7 with check. Notice that the king can't move to the back rank because rook to c8 will be checkmating 1, so king back to d6, and now queen to b6 with check, king to e7, queen to c5 with check. Now the knight is 2 times under attack, only protected by the queen. This position, king to e8, best move. Now any change here on e5 is already enough to win this endgame. Stronger than that is rook to a1 with the checkmating threat, rook to a8, so rook to d7 to shield the king must be played. Now rook to a8 with check will completely block this rook, rook to d8, rook captures, king captures, and now queen to d6 with check, king to e8, queen captures, on e6 with check, another pawn is gone. After king to f8, now it's really time to capture the knight on e5 with a simple endgame win. So game over after this move. Let's go back to our game. After queen to e4, threatening to win the rook, threatening to win the knight, Firouzja continues with king captures on d6. This move loses on the spot because after queen captures on e5 with check played by Nepomniachtchi, Firouzja resigns. Resigns because it's already a forced checkmate in 3. Let's give the checkmate. King back to e7, queen capture on e6 with check, king to f8, now rook to c8 comes with check, on the move rook captures on c8, and the queen recapturing on c8 gives checkmate because the king cannot move to e7 because there is the rook dominating the e5. So a very nice game played by Nepomniachtchi that I hope you enjoyed. With this victory, Nepo took the 5th place and $22,500, so not bad at all. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel because this afternoon I will show you one game from the first semi-final, that is Nakamura versus Caruana. Thank you very much for watching and see you later. Goodbye!